I'm going to show you how to scale a $3 million painting company. And in this video, we're going to look at 4 specific things. First, we want to look at why a $3 million painting company. It's not just because it's a big number. There's a real reason why 3 million is a good target for people to have building a painting business. Second, we're going to look at the numbers so you can understand, like, what does my business actually need to look like by the numbers? I think that really simplifies things when you can see how simple it actually can look to run a $3 million painting company. Third, we're going to talk about the most important problems you need to solve from where you are today to getting to $3 million a year. And then we're going to look at the most important steps to take in what order to get to $3 million a year. Before we get into the video, my name is Eric Barstow. I'm the founder of Painting Business Pro. I've helped dozens of painting contractors scale their business to and beyond $3 million a year in business very profitably and healthy. I've helped hundreds of painting contractors become $1 million painting contractors. And I also own and run a portfolio of painting companies that does over $25 million a year. We run 5 companies that do over $3 million a year in business and 2 that do over $6 million a year in business and growing. I think $3 million a year as a painting contractor is a really important goal to have, and that's the main goal that we have for everybody that works with us at Painting Business Pro. The whole point of our program is to help people get to $2.5 to $3 million per year in business. Why? Well, because that's the goal we have so that people can create freedom. I've talked to thousands of painting contractors over the years, and I said, why did you start a painting business? Or why do you want to start a business? And the overwhelming response basically boils down to freedom. I want freedom of my time to do what I want, when I want, and that includes financial freedom, because there's a lot of people who have time freedom, but no financial freedom. It's called being unemployed, and that's not the goal. The goal is to have real freedom, which includes financial freedom. So to create real freedom, you need to build your business to a point where you have a team that runs the day-to-day of the business. Because if you don't have a team that runs the day-to-day of the business, that means you run the day-to-day of the business, which means you have built a nice job, but you haven't built a business, and you won't have freedom of time. So you need to be able to build a team. In order to build a team, the business needs to be big enough that you can afford to hire people to run the day-to-day and still make profit, and it needs to be big enough that they can make a good salary, because you need to not just have a team, you need to have a good team. And good people need to make good money, and the business needs to be big enough to pay good people good money so that they can do all the estimates, manage the projects, and answer the phones, and do a very good job for you. So that's why we want to get to $3 million a year, because to do $3 million a year, you need 2 full-time estimators, 2 full-time project managers, and 1 full-time office manager, which gives you a team of 5. I like that team of 5 because if one of your estimators quits or moves on, you still have another one, so you're not forced back into doing all the sales, or if one of your project managers quits, you're not forced into doing project management because you've got 2 of them. And so it creates a really nice business for those people to operate in. It gives you a little bit of extra layer of protection of not having to get back into your business. It gives you freedom of time. And at that scale of doing $2.5 to $3 million a year, it really does create financial freedom for you, because you can make $500,000 in profit. So now let's look at what the numbers look like at a $3 million business if you're doing it in what I think is the right way and the healthy way. All right, so first I just want to break down what this business looks like for you, because I think it's important for you to see the end to know how you're going to get there. So there's 3 things we're going to look at. First, we're going to look at what does this business look like on the year? Like, what do the financials look like? Where's the money going? We're going to look at your weekly targets. What should you be doing on a weekly basis to actually hit these targets for the year? And then what does your team look like, and how much money can they get paid? Because they're going to be the people who are ultimately running the business. So if we look at the year, we have $3 million in top line revenue. We're going to assume 50% goes to labor and materials. For some people, that number should be even lower, where you're paying maybe 47 or 48% to labor and materials. Our companies are closer to 46 to 47% at scale. We're going to assume 10% spent on marketing budget, which gives you a $300,000 marketing budget, which is pretty substantial. That's how you're going to get all the estimates that you need. We pay a production manager 6 to 7%, sales reps 6 to 7%, your office manager 2%. Those are the 5 people, or the 3 roles that essentially run your business. And then you have 4% remaining for overhead, which is about $120,000 in overhead. That's 10 grand a month. That is substantial. And if your overhead is higher than that, then you're spending money on things you don't need to be spending money on. That leaves you with a 20% net profit margin, which is $600,000 in profit, which is pretty killer. And at this stage of the business, you're not doing the day-to-day anymore. You have other people answering the phones, doing the estimates, managing the projects. Your role becomes making sure that those 5 people are really successful themselves, that they've got a great life balance, that they're happy, that they're thriving, that they're hitting their goals, they're making good money, and that they're doing a phenomenal job for your customers. But that is not a full-time job. You can't spend 8 hours a week with your people. It would be overkill. You should be spending time with them, but not that much time, which means that you have started to create a real business. Now let's look at what the weekly targets should look like. So we're going to assume a 50-week year for easier math. So $3 million divided by 50 weeks is $60,000 a week on average. So obviously there's gonna be some weeks that are a little bit lower because of holidays or something like that. There's some weeks that'll be a little bit higher, but on average, $60,000 a week. Assuming a $5,000 average job size, that means you need to close, on average, 12 jobs per week. To close 12 jobs a week, we'll assume a 40% sales rate. You should be able to close 12 jobs on 30 estimates, which is what your 2 estimators are gonna do. So now let's look at the team and what the team does. So you've got 2 sales reps. Each sales rep does 15 estimates, sells 6 jobs for $30,000. On 50-week sales season, that's $1.5 million in sales. If they're getting 6 to 7% paid on commission, they can earn about $100,000 in income, which is pretty great. Your project managers are gonna manage $30,000 a week in production. That's 6 jobs per week where they're gonna manage the subcontractors, the employees, all the materials, hitting all the costs, making customers happy, and they do that week in and week out. On a 50-week average, that means they're gonna do $1.5 million in production each at 6 to 7% commission or total compensation. They can also earn $100,000. And I feel like those are the numbers that you need to be at to be able to afford really great people. And the truth is that our sales reps at our companies and our project managers at our companies outperform these numbers. They have higher job sizes, higher sales rates, and they produce more work, which means they can make even more money. Your office manager's job is to set 30 estimates a week, manage the incoming phones, communication, some administrative stuff. You can pay an office manager anywhere from $45,000 to $80,000 per year. I'm a big fan of paying really well for the office manager because they're the ones setting the estimates for the sales reps. They can make a really big impact on the effectiveness of the sales rate. And a really good office manager that does better phone calls and wins more jobs because of it pays for themselves in just that difference in sales rate. So I'm a fan of paying people really well. I think paying people really well is how you get great people, and great people are the best for building your company. So now we're gonna move on and look at the core problems that you need to solve to get from essentially 0 up to $4 million a year. And I think there's 4 main problems that you need to solve, 4 real core challenges you need to overcome. The first one is marketing. You have to get good at marketing. And there's 2 main things that I've noticed over all the years that people make mistakes with marketing. The first one is they don't spend enough money. That's why I made sure to note that we have budgeted $300,000 for marketing. 9 times out of 10, the reason they didn't hit their target is they just didn't spend enough money on marketing. They were really profitable, their marketing was effective, their sales rates were good, their production was good, their profitability was good. They literally just didn't spend enough money on marketing. People are too cheap on marketing, mostly because as we grow the business, we're stuck in whole dollar amount mindset. So I'm like, man, $5,000 a month is a lot to spend on marketing when I'm small. And it's hard for me to shift my mind to spending $25,000 a month on marketing. Or like one of our companies that spends $550,000 a year on marketing. It's hard to wrap your head around like spending $40,000 to $50,000 per month on marketing. And so you need to make the budget, make the plan, and then you've got to spend the money. That's the first mistake people make, is they make the budget, but then they don't spend the money. The second mistake that people make is they don't take the time to get good at marketing. Like, this is a problem you need to solve. It's something you got to get good at. To get good at, you got to dedicate time to it. You just have to practice your craft. You have to learn, you have to fail, you have to stick with it. Marketing is not something that just works or it doesn't work. You make it work. I know people who do $3.5 million a year on just door-to-door. We used to do that. I know people who do $3.5 million a year just from Facebook ads. I know people who do over $3 million a year just from their lawn signing direct mail campaign and flyer campaigns. You can do $1 million in business from just a couple of sources. $1 million here, $1 million here, $1 million here. We do over $1 million a year on just our Google organic and our website. We do over $1 million a year on just referrals. I know members of mine who do over $1 million a year on just referrals, or $1 million a year on lawn signs. The key to marketing is spend enough and get good at it. The next problem you need to solve is sales. This is something that also I think people massively underinvest in. In our example, we set a 40% sales rate, but at our companies, our average is 50 and our top reps sell over 60%. And that makes a huge difference to your bottom line and your effectiveness. It also helps your people make a lot more money. You've got to get good at sales because sales is the engine that makes the marketing work, and sales is what allows you to scale. People who are ineffective at sales have a really hard time getting to $3 million a year. You've got to get good at sales yourself first, and then you've got to get good at documenting it, and then you got to get good at training it. It's a really key problem that you need to solve on the way to getting there. The third problem that you got to solve is quality. So quality means just our ability to deliver an exceptional experience to customers. And that doesn't just mean a quality paint job. A quality paint job is part of it, but the experience is just as important, if not more important. And the experience includes, just what is it like being a customer of yours? Are your customers ever repeating themselves over and over? So when a sales rep does the estimate and they take down all these notes, do they then have to repeat themselves to the production manager, or do those notes get seamlessly transferred along? Do your customers always know what's going on? Do they ever have questions? Do they ever have concerns? Are they ever waiting and wondering when you're going to call? Do you start the project when you said you would start the project? Do you get the projects done in an efficient timeline? Are the job sites clean throughout the project? Are people on time throughout the project? I mean, it's all these little things that really contribute to the customer experience, and you need to design the systems for how that works from the office manager answering the phone to the sales rep to the project manager, and ultimately even to your subs or your foreman and your crews, to make sure that that whole experience is really seamless. You need to deliver a high quality experience, because that is how you generate reviews, you generate referrals, which again, that drives that whole economic engine behind marketing sales too. Your sales rep should sell 100% of your referral estimates. Referrals are good. Referrals don't cost any money. It drives your marketing costs down. It's absolutely critical that we get that quality process dialed in. And just so you know, it does get harder to do that once you start building the team. It's really easy when you're the one that answers the phone, sets the estimate, does the estimate, manages the project, because you don't need to worry about all those things getting lost in translation because they're all with you. But once you start building a team, you've got to get those systems dialed in. The fourth problem that you're going to have to solve is building a team. So once we know how to generate leads really effectively, and we know how to convert those leads into jobs, and we know how to deliver a high quality experience and high quality paint job to those customers, now we need to build a team, which is really, how do I recruit great people? How do I train and onboard those people to do as good a job as I do? And then how do I manage those people and continue to develop them so that they stick around? There's nothing more expensive to a business than attrition and starting over with your employees. Your people are the most important thing in your business. They're ultimately the ones that are working with your customers, that are delivering on your promises. You've got to invest in your people. You've got to recruit great ones, because you're going to invest a lot in them. You better like those people, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. They better be great people, because they're going to operate on behalf of you and your business. And once you invest a lot of time in getting the right people, you invest even more time in training them for a long period of time. Your business changes. When you start building that team, your job is no longer running the business. Your job is building your team. Your job is their success. Those are the 4 core problems that you're going to need to solve going from here. And then, of course, there's some of the other things. Yeah, we need to get the business planning down. We need to, there's some time management stuff in there. Your administrative stuff, taxes, accounting, some finances, CRM, tech, like a lot of that stuff kind of keeps the business working. But the most fundamental skills is generating the leads, turning those leads into jobs, delivering a quality experience, and then having that process be dialed in, and then scaling a team to run that process. So now we want to look at just the steps and the way to think about this. So I think about it in basically 2 main phases, and we have some other videos that go into detail from different angles on this. But the first thing is understand the foundation. So no surprise, you've got to get really strong with marketing. You've got to get a really strong sales process and a really good project management process down before you hire a team. You have to be hitting all the numbers with marketing. I'm under 10%, I'm hitting my estimate goals. If you're the owner, selling over 50% of those estimates, and you should be producing those jobs at 50% going to labor and materials or better, with really happy crews, really happy customers. If you can't do that yourself, you're never gonna be able to train your people to do that. That's what I call phase 1, building the foundation. You've got to get the foundation strong with you and get it documented, because you're gonna need to train people on it, and it needs to be documented to train them, because they're not gonna just remember it if you're just spewing things at them. It has to be documented so you have accountability. Then we look at phase 2. Phase 2 is building the team. So that's when you're gonna start to recruit first a project manager, take that off your plate, and then a sales rep takes that off your plate, and then an office manager, another project manager, another sales rep. So that's building the team is in phase 2. But the other thing that needs to happen when you're building a team is you're ramping up marketing. Because you're gonna go from doing 8 estimates a week when it's just you to 30 estimates a week, 2 years later once you've got that team of 5 in place. And so the 2 things that need to happen in phase 2 is building the team and ramping up marketing as you build the team. So that's what it looks like to go from 0 to $3 million a year. That's how you do it. And someone asked me recently, Eric, how long do you think it takes to do that? My answer was, it takes about 3 to 4 years if you really do it the right way. And I think you can probably force your way there, but it's not gonna be healthy. And then you're gonna have to fix all the problems anyway. And so the goal is not to get to 3 million, making 600K in profit with a team. The goal is to get there with the business being really healthy, meaning the profit margins are solid, your crews are really happy, your employees are really happy, your customers are happy, your processes are good, your reputation is impeccable, you're getting a lot of referrals. Doing it the right way is gonna take 3 to 4 years to get from 0 to 3 million a year, maybe 5 years. And that's what we help people do. So if you want help, we'd love to work with you. That's what we do, is help people do that. If you're gonna do it on your own, it's just gonna take a lot longer because you're gonna have to reinvent the wheel and learn all the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. But that's why I can help you do it faster, because I've already learned it. All right, so hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.